Good afternoon, everybody. Tom Leahy with OptimumEd. Glad you could join us today. OptimumEd is a higher education advisory firm here in Richmond, Virginia, but we operate nationally. And in fact, we can place students internationally if that's appropriate, excuse me. So we can really help any young person, no matter where they are or who they are, find their future. That's what we're all about. And I'm very excited that we have a special guest with us today, Rich Ashburn, who is founder of the Essential Backpack. And we're going to find out more about his program and the exciting things that they're doing there. He's a former teacher and community health educator. So we're going to talk to John here in just a minute. So, I just to kind of frame our conversation, right now at OptimumEd, we do a lot of talking about the emotionality that's surrounding higher education today, the chaos that's occurring in our colleges and even in our high schools in terms of delivering curriculum, the stress and the anxiety that parents are experiencing because of that. And we talk about OptimumEd bringing an objective voice and a calm to that situation for families, but those same parents are also faced with having kids at home trying to go to school, being forced into a home schooling environment that they didn't ask for. And those parents are often unprepared to deal with that from a personal standpoint. And so you have to ask the question, what can they do? Hey, John can answer that question for us. So John, welcome. Tell us about the Essential Backpack and what you're trying to accomplish for families.
Oh, thanks so much for inviting me in today, Tom. I appreciate the conversation. Last January, like a lot of families, we were starting off on a new path. My daughter was in school. My wife started a new job as a stylist, and I had left education and had gone into professional development and sales role. And I absolutely loved it. And like a lot of families, in March, our world was turned upside down. My wife was furloughed. My daughter was sent home, and I was put in the upstairs bedroom to make cold calls. So totally shifted in what I was thinking I was going to do. My daughter and my wife And what I found was my daughter wanted to do well. My wife wanted to help her, but they didn't know how to do the work. And so I would come downstairs and say, okay, here we do. Let's chunk this out. Because as having 10 years in public schools, I was able to say, here's how I would lay this out. This is what we need to do. We need to restructure this a little bit more. And then
time management as well.
Time management of how long you work on something, how you're working on it. What type of learner is my daughter? I knew that she was a kinesthetic, hands-on learner that very much liked to hear what needed to be done. But everything that she had been given were handouts or on the screen. So that was her worst way of learning it. So we had to make some adjustments so that it met more her profile of how she could learn best. Then we had to chunk it up and say, hey, because all we got from the school system was you should only work about 3 hours a day. That's all we want. But they didn't say do 30 minutes of this, go outside and do a little bit of gardening, come back in, do a little bit more, maybe do a little YouTube yoga class or something and mix it up. But what I found once I said, well, I figured out what we needed to do in our house, but then I started reading and talking to parents and saying, wow, this is not a problem only in our house. This is a huge problem. And we know that our administrators and educators are working to create a safe environment within the school systems. They're trying to find transportation, lunch, as well as get us the academics. They don't have the bandwidth to also support the teacher component at home. And that's where the essential backpack came, because I'm saying each morning as parents, we pack a backpack for our kids and we put the academics in there. We put the social, emotional components. A backpack is so much more than just a conduit to get things to school or a vessel to get something to school. It really is a support system. And I said, as a teacher, if I could pack a backpack for parents, what would I put in?
Wonderful. Yeah.
And so when I say the essential backpack, I'm saying these are the essential things that I think that you need to do to create the conditions in which you and your child can thrive during this home-based learning.
While you're working and still trying to help your child.
Right. Exactly.
So it's a huge challenge.
Yeah. And as a community health educator, you know, we always look at the research, and I was like, this isn't just my idea. You know, can I find data that supports what I'm hearing and seeing? And sure enough, I found some data that said 82% of families say that they are unprepared to begin or resume at-home schooling. 24% of those say they are completely unprepared. And in addition to that, in another survey, 66% of parents that were working from home that had children 15 or under stated that their productivity had taken a dive. So what we're trying to do is take some influencers that really influenced how I ran my class as a teacher and relate what I call my 4 lessons that I think I had to have in my classroom each and every day. And those are, 1, I needed to really know who my students were and what kind of learners they were. What motivated them, how did they like to have their lessons, and what were their interests. The other thing I had to do is what I found through professional development and working with mentors was planning is essential. You have to plan your days out, and that keeps engagement going throughout the day. So I talk to parents about what you should be planning, how you transition, and what goes into making a very engaging day to keep your student moving forward.
All great stuff. Rich, how do you deliver this?
That's a great question, Tom. We are ready at this time. Initially, we have an in class. If somebody would want us to come to an organization and give an in-person class, we could do that based on if they had the safety measures and they felt comfortable with that. We're also setting up Zoom calls so that we can do it through Zoom. And then we will have a teachable site as well, where if you cannot make any of the Zoom and you need to have a little bit more flexibility in your schedule, you can go to Teachable and just download the webinar.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk about how people get in contact with you. If there's parents out there that see this, that this resonates with them, how do they contact you?
They can contact me by emailing me at rich@theessentialbackpack.com. You can visit theessentialbackpack.com, and there is a link so you can write. My phone number is there as well. It's 804-566-9050. I'd be more than happy to get back with you and make sure that we get you started. We should have our classes ready to go and our schedule on our website. We're working sort of what I call our website is updated 1.5 or 2.0, where we have our calendar and links are being updated by our IT people right now.
Yeah. So most schools are opening the day after Labor Day in this area. So over the Labor Day weekend, be a great time for parents to check you out, maybe send you an email and get prepared for that eventuality next week.
Yeah, and we've made it a very affordable program in which we are really hoping to connect with a lot of different companies so that they can use it as professional development to support their people. Not only will there be benefits in quality of life within a home, we know that there's going to be, if we learn in a more relaxed atmosphere, we know that academically our kids are going to do better, and our parents are going to do better and have more time to be more productive at work as well. So I think it's a win-win for a lot of different groups.
Yeah, and a great resource for clients of OptimumEd as well. And you can find a link on our resource page to the Essential Backpack, OptimumEdCenter.com. And if you want to talk to us, you can call us at 804-417-4807 or go to our webpage. So I think we're going to wrap it up, Rich. I really appreciate you being here today, telling us about your great program. I think it's unique. I think it's wonderful and very much needed. And I encourage all parents to reach out to you and have a conversation. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody a great and safe Labor Day weekend. Take care.
Thanks, Tom.